Alright you guys, and welcome back to a new video. And this week I got lost in the toy section at my local store. And after what seemed like forever I finally found the exit, but I noticed something strange since I didn't leave alone, as it usually happens at every bar and club that I set foot into. And as it turns out, I bought a little female farm set which teaches you how to sculpt. Knowing the man I am, I saw the challenge and immediately started sculpting a sheep. Following the instructions, of course. And while you see me fiddling around with dozens of balls, every man's dream, I'd actually like to tell you what I'm going to sculpt, which besides the extremely challenging sheep, not for beginners, I'll also be sculpting the pig and the cow, but giving them a horrific twist. But back to the sheep, where I'm currently adding all the balls with my newly equipped blisters, which I got from all the ball scratching I did earlier. Anyways, with my fluffy looking ball of wool finished, it's time to introduce a new color named black, which in this case will be used to sculpt the head and legs. Said head will then get 2 eyes, and with my adorable eyes in place I can poke in 2 nostrils before connecting the head to the rest of the body. I then gave him 2 simple ears and his chunky legs to stand on. And with that my cute little sheep is done, although far below my creepy standards. So let's turn some pages and get working on the pig. Although this time I'll make sure it won't end up as unthreatening as the sheep. And after ignoring my inabilities to opening the package, we'll once again end up with a block of clay. But upon forming the clay in my hands, I felt my inner demons pulling me away from the instructions and telling me what to sculpt instead. And I completely folded and leaned into making the pig a horror abomination. So I started out by filling this hole with some red clay, which will then later work as the mouth. I then added some elevated gums where I can then press my teeth into later. Before doing that, I will add some more wrinkles and skin folds. And I'll then add some open wounds and warts on his back. Now I can set his body aside and start working on the legs. And I figured for this one I'll be going for 3 legs, which is not a sign of laziness, but creativeness. For sure. And I realized his 3rd leg is the longest, which is funny because in my case it's the complete opposite. Anyways, I gave his inner mouth some inner teeth and his outer mouth some outer teeth, which is where I realized I wouldn't be very happy being his dentist. Absolute nightmare fuel. Apologies for those sound effects, I'll never do it again. Hopefully. But that's the pig done, which now brings us to the 3rd and final animal, being the big cow, where I once again got lost during the sculpting and ended up in a dark and spooky place. And it was during adding the fur texture where I realized that this female kid's clay is extremely soft and fudgy, and therefore not really good for some fine sharp details. Anyways, I tried my best achieving an acceptable fur texture, and then started working on the head, where you can slowly start to see where I'm going with the sculpture. After I covered his grinning smile and some lips, I can start adding some nostrils, following that up by giving him 2 scary eyes. And it was at this point where I realized that he sort of looks like Thomas the Train, just a bit scarier. And since scarier is certainly not scary enough, I'll add 2 horns, which can then get covered in some more fur. But I should slow down a bit because this one slowly starts to remind me of my math teacher I used to have at high school, making me solve equations in front of the class, and there with certainty is nothing more terrifying than that. And by adding the nose ring you wouldn't be able to tell them apart, so I better start working on some legs, or should I say hands, since I figured to increase the spooky factor my cow won't be having 4 normal legs, but 4 zombie hands instead. Since those hands have been through a lot, I added some stitches to hold them together. And after baking them all, I can glue them to the rest of the cow. And that's the sculpting done, so on to the painting. I'll start by giving the fur some washed brown highlights, and then dip my pencil in some blood to make the smile even scarier. I'll then add some dimension to the splits on his leg hands, as well as on the tail, With that, the cow is done and we can also apply some paint treatment on the pig, where I'll start by adding some blood to its gums and teeth, as well as all the open wounds. Following that up by highlighting all the wrinkles and the folds. And with that, my two monstrosities are done. Alright, thank you guys for watching. Make sure to comment down below what I should sculpt next. I have to say I definitely enjoyed making these. There are still many other female kit sets out there, which I could turn into some more horror abominations. Let me know if you want to see that, or if I should revisit the farm and add some more creepy farm animals. And don't forget to subscribe, baby, and I'll see you in the next one. I love you all. Bye.